joining me to have a chat about this is one of the key spearheads in the successful No campaign and the director of the Indigenous Forum at the Centre of Independent Studies, Warren Mundine. Warren, it's great to be talking to you. Firstly, congratulations on being part of, or a major part of, an incredible referendum result. But what's your response to the Yes activists' statement that's come out today?
Well, it just proved the point, you know, in an article I wrote about that the Voice campaign was a metaphorical declaration of war on Australia. It's become quite obvious that on the Yes campaign side, there is a number of different groups that don't agree with each other. And what has happened is that there's one group who wanted to take winner takes all approach to this whole thing and threw out the rule book in regard to how you win referendums by actually having a bipartisan, a sensible approach to it. And Albanese was captured by that group because he ploughed ahead thinking that this was the right way to go. Well, it wasn't. You know, the Australian public made it quite clear that they wanted to see Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders recognised in the Constitution as First People, but they rejected the Voice and they rejected the Uluru Statement from the heart because it wasn't going to fix the things that needed to be fixed. And the other thing that came out of it was that the people, you know, Yes and No people who I met out when I was campaigning, they all wanted the Closing the Gap to be closed, and all the billions of dollars that have been spent on this to actually show an outcome. And if they don't do that, then then they need to head in a different direction to get it to happen. And look, those documents, I saw the draft document that fell off the back of a truck, and I also saw the statement that came out overnight. It is a disgraceful attack on Australia and Australian people.
It is, and what's extraordinary is that they don't want to put their name to it, many of them. You said the Prime Minister was captured by some of these hardcore activists, Warren, but I think he was actually captured by hubris. He saw the polls, thought everyone's got goodwill towards Aboriginal people in this country, didn't know the detail, didn't go to the bipartisan route with the coalition, didn't go to the Constitutional Convention. He cooked his own goose and he cooked a referendum campaign for, I think, the next 25 years.
Oh, well, I hope it never comes back, ever comes back. It was the most divisive, most racially charged attack on Australia that I've ever seen. And you've seen what happened, you know, publicly. Like when people like Mick Gooder, I know a lot of the people on the Yes side. Some of them actually worked with me in the past, and we worked on different projects and that. There was a lot of very good, decent people out there who were trying to get the Voice to have that compromise, to have that negotiations, to come up with something that would actually have an outcome that fixes the lives of those Aboriginal people out there who are struggling. But it's obvious, you know, like you had Mick Gooder come out and wanted to do a compromise publicly, and Noel Pearson come out and attacked him and called him a bedwetter. You've seen Julia Leeser trying to make some compromise, and he was attacked as well. So you're seeing this total chaos that would have been happening in the background of that Yes campaign. And Australians aren't mugs. They're pretty decent people. They're not stupid. They're not ignorant. They're not racist. They're not dinosaurs. They want this country to go forward as a liberal democracy with all the equality and liberties and freedoms that it has. And what Albanese has done is quite disgraceful by running this campaign.
Yeah, I agree. What about Yes campaigner Thomas Mayo? He's a bloke who described the Voice as a tool to, quote, punish politicians, abolish colonialist institutions and pay the rent, pay reparations and compensation. He penned an op-ed over the weekend and he claimed that Yes campaigners were targeted, bullied and vilified, while the No campaign spread misinformation and racism without scrutiny. It's kind of like he's accusing everyone else of what I think the Yes campaign did themselves. But what's your response here, Warren?
Well, you look at the statement that was released. That was almost verbatim what he believes in, and I'm getting sick and tired of this attacks because it's false. Where the real lie was? The real lie was in the voice. The voice they kept on saying was that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people do not have a voice. There's thousands of them in Canberra. There's thousands of them across Australia, and that had a voice. So it was a total lie they put out there that Aboriginal people didn't have a voice. And it was just all the misinformation they put out there why it has to be in the Constitution and that. And now you're still seeing this lie going on. They're going out and say, well, on social media, 39% of Australians voted for it. So, and that's more than any political party got at the last election. Well, guess what? 61% voted no, and that's larger than any political party got at the last federal election. In fact, in probably history of the Federation, that number. So it was a resounding defeat. They just
certainly was, and it was a resounding defeat because of the work that you put in. You've got a very strong voice, and it's one that all Australians need to continue to hear.
Oh, just
thank you for your efforts, Warren Mundine, and thanks for joining me tonight. Yes, mate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just before I go, I like to send a message to Peter Malinakis and to Chris Minns and to the Victorian government. The Queensland government has come to some common sense about withdrawing from the treaty process up there. I think Peter Malinakis, with his voice to Parliament, needs to now reassess that, because his state was one of the biggest that said no to the voice. And I think Chris Minns needs to, he needs to pull back on the treaty process in New South Wales and actually look at how the Native Title Acts and the Land Rights Act in New South Wales need to, clean up their act and start working together and getting the benefits that come out for Aboriginal people.
You're quite right. I note Malinakis passed his voice in South Australia before the referendum kicked off. Then he put it into hiatus, and he's only bringing it back now. That tells you a lot, I think, about how dangerous it's going to be. Warren Mundine, thank you very much for lending your voice to Credlin tonight.